The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake of the original 2013 game, The Last of Us, and it is coming to PlayStation 5 this year, September 2nd. It will also be coming to PC at a future date. Today I wanted to go through what you can expect this remake to entail so that you can make an informed decision as to whether you want to pre-order the game, wait for a sale, or not bother with this outing in Naughty Dog's post-apocalyptic setting. So far, all that we've seen for The Last of Us Part 1 has been a trailer, and the graphics do look very improved here from the original. They look of the quality of The Last of Us Part 2. Last night, I booted up Part 2 on my PS5 just to see if the graphics were as good as I remembered when that game launched 2 years ago. I can't believe it's been 2 years. But ultimately, it was better than I remembered. The graphics in Part 2 are insanely good, and that same quality will be brought to Part 1. And that is a very exciting prospect for fans of the first game. It has also been confirmed that gameplay has been reworked and completely overhauled for this remake as well. In other words, this is a from-the-ground-up remake, although certain elements of the first game have been kept and just retouched. For example, they did not bring in Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker to recapture their performances for the remake. Instead, they took those original performances and that original motion capture and spent time really working on it and bringing it up to quality for the next generation of hardware. Now, I know that this may be considered a bit taboo in the game industry and especially in the kinds of games that I cover, but I'm honestly all for remakes, remasters, bringing the quality of games up to speed to current gen. I am a fan of playing through games and franchises and having a consistent level of quality. I think that the Resident Evil games have done a great job with this. Resident Evil 2 is now on par with a lot of the current releases, such as Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil Biohazard. And I wouldn't be opposed to seeing this same treatment given to the Batman Arkham games when Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League comes out. It would be cool to see the Batman Arkham games recreated for the Xbox Series X and PS5. And I also would love to see BioShock get an overhaul and that franchise get brought up to the quality of the fourth one when that one gets announced. But here's the thing, even for me, The Last of Us Part 1 is $70. It's available to pre-order now, but it is $70, and that is a huge asking price. So what on earth would justify this price tag for this remake? Now, I do understand that this is something that this team has recreated. This isn't a remaster. They're not just replacing assets in the original game. They are rebuilding the game essentially from scratch, bringing over things such as the motion capture performances, but every asset is being recreated, perhaps brought in and retouched from The Last of Us Part 2. But this isn't a simple remaster. It is a very extensive overhaul of that original game. And I do understand that that is a lot of work, but $70 is more than the original game cost. It's also more than the remaster cost, and so yes, I do think that this is a bit of an eyebrow-raising price tag, and I think that it is a very hard one to justify unless there is some new content in this game that wasn't in the first one. Now, even though they didn't bring in Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson to do more motion capture and performance work for this game, there is a chance that there is some leftover cut content from that original game in 2013 that they could reintroduce into this game. I know that I've read that the fall section was supposed to be longer, but they ran out of time and budget to really make it work. So maybe there's performance work and extra content that could be reintroduced there. Another thing that I could see get expanded is the arenas for combat themselves, as they have mentioned that the enemy AI has also been retouched and reworked to play out more smoothly, as has the gameplay. And I think that that's where you're really going to get to see if this remake is something that appeals to you or not, because when we get some gameplay footage for The Last of Us Part 1, I think that seeing this classic game at the quality of Part 2 from a graphical perspective, but also from a gameplay perspective, is going to be what makes or breaks this for you. I personally am very excited for this remake. I'm excited to see one of my favorite games of all time get a complete overhaul and be brought up to the quality of The Last of Us Part 2, both in graphics and in gameplay. But even myself, a huge fan of The Last of Us Part 1, is struggling to justify pre-ordering this at $70 as opposed to waiting for a sale when I can get it for $40 or even $20. As much as I would love to see additional content in this game, unless they announce it really quickly, I'm not expecting it either. I don't think that it's going to be a surprise, because when you're advertising a game at $70, I think additional content would have been the first thing that they would have really put on blast as something that is in the game. And so far, nothing of the sort has been stated, so I already have doubts that there will be any additional content. I think it will be a fairly straightforward one-to-one recreation of the original game, albeit with much higher quality. So thanks you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments below what you think about this remake for The Last of Us and if you plan on getting it. We'll see you guys in the next one.